sided was a big shock. And a lot of that just comes down to G2 were not shooting back. You know, kills always play a big part if you win or lose games. And really the only person I think held his own was Solotov. No one else, I think, from MNM you can say did that job and actually got the kills. So I think certainly everyone else from MNM need to step up to the mark. They need to get in there, get some kills. And, you know, you pointed a couple of times, G2 were playing pretty loose a lot of the times, where there was these kind of individual men scattered around the map, but MNM never really looked as if they were going to go for him. They never took that opportunity just to see one guy and just pinch him, clear him out, do what good teams do, and that is hunt those roamers.
We have our operator bands raining in for Border then. We're going to have Twitch and Orsa taken off the board, joined by Mirror. And then a final defensive ban, which will come in from G2, is going to be Valkyrie. Not too much of a surprise there. The Twitch one from G2, I guess a little bit interesting. I don't know if maybe there was a plan to potentially play something like the Mirror. And then we see MNM lean into that and say, right, we're going to take that operator away if we're not going to have the Twitch to potentially deal with it. So that's going to be the bench round. Up, heading into Border. MNM, for me, Demo, need a strong start here. They desperately need. They've got the attack on Border. They've got everything they need. You know, we know that once attackers get inside this map, generally, they win more rounds than they lose. So G2 have got to fight them at the boundaries, try and prevent them getting inside and getting established, but MNM really should be coming away with a 4-2 half minimum.
It's a map that both teams, it's one that doesn't really strike me as, oh, MNM and G2, they love playing Border. It's not really in the pool, I would say, that they're known for. Interesting facts. Last time each of the sides played Border were both at Copenhagen. And the last time G2 played it, they beat Team Liquid 7-3 on Border. And the last time MNM played it, they beat W7M 7-3 on Border. So Brazil, you need to work on the borders. You've got MNM and G2 beating you on that with quite a comfortable result. So it's just an interesting thing that both teams having, you know, success against big sides them the last time they played it. So there could be, you know, the last time they played it, they could be good memories. It's just always something to look into, but I don't know if it's going to play that big a part. MNM, straight away, you can see the idea if they're going to try and slow the game down. You bring in the Monty, that's going to help you with figuring out where these defenders are, getting some information, and that's where you can try and get some, you know, easier kills for yourself. However, I look at the setup as well and where they're stationed. This does smell like the old Archives plant. You can see the Ying and the Monty with Diffuser heading out there.
Smokes as well on both operators, so plenty of cover available. Yeah, I agree with you. I think, you know, I like it from MNM. Looking at what I said about them in the first one was they weren't disrupting G2 enough. That's an unfortunate bounce back on the Candela, but 2 kills come in. Meanwhile, Solotov manages to get one, and it's Tyrant with the other who did pick up the opener. So Alamai manages to pick up Solotov, but is there an opportunity for MNM to get that diffuser down here? As you say, Benja, for the time being, has maybe just been able to hold them off from that Archives door push.
Nades below aren't really working right now for Nafe. He needs to try and clear away that half wall, and never mind, you don't need the nade. Tyrant, a belter of a shot. In comes Alamau with a refrag, just pre-fires, hits the head, but they've lost the Warden. That means they can maybe plant under the guys of the Candelas and the smoke alike. Nello will move into, looks to be Concrete he's going to try and plant in towards. Use this on the window, trying to help his team, and he will do so. Alamau goes down on the vault. Up goes Virtue, eliminates Uses. Nafe needs to try and get to his teammate right now. There's a bulletproof that could see him walk in towards Metal. Virtue knows that. He's worried that there could be the rotate in through Fountain, but instead Nafe does decide to jump in towards the small office. Has a Gumai, can maybe try and stop the plant with that. Has to swing on towards that sledge. Oh, looks the wrong way. Pre-fired back and forth. Nafe hits one. Out goes the Monty. Now this is tricky. A 1 versus 1. Virtue drops the hatch. He gives Nello now a chance to get the plant down. He's got 2 goo mines, so that should be enough to see him over the line. Nello successfully will get that planted. He will go for the full extend. All Virtue needs to do is find that goo mine, slot it in behind him. He's going to be moving back and forth. As soon as this goo mine goes in the foot of Monty, it's going to be all over. And there we go. Finally has to go for the on shield. Virtue, all you need to do is stay alive. Oh, the stab didn't work. Virtue, what a clutch.
Such smart play from Virtue there, just dropping down the hatch. I thought at the time he might well just take that option and just look to try and change up the landscape a little bit that he was fighting. And as you say, just heads up play, knowing that he's got those goo mines in pocket and can force a situation where Nello has to take the challenge. And just unfortunate for MNM there. If they win that gunfight onto Virtue, the round is theirs. But G2 just not looking like giving them an inch today. Really well played defense against an MNM side that, as I said during the round, were doing something I wanted to see from them. Try and disrupt G2's defense, right? You want to hold on to this part of the map, that part of the map, that's fine. We're going to bring Smokes, Monty and Ying. Let's see what you can hold on to now. And I like it from MNM, but it just wasn't enough.
All chat's always fun. Doki calling Alamau a full blatant troller. I mean, to be fair, he just full sprinted in for a smoke grenade and then used his Gundam down as he tried to stop the Monty planting. You can kind of see the setup there from MNM wasn't too bad. I like the way that they almost baited out the first initial amount of utility, where they were able to use the Candelas and the smokes to make it was the Warden Benja look towards the Monty. They knew they had the Warden, so it was just a case of waiting. Don't go for the plant straight away. That's almost a bit of a bait to give your other teammates a bit of room to try and take control of the map. But then, yeah, just Virtue. Brilliant clutch. You have to give all credit to him in that scenario, the 1v3. If you have to look at MNM and say what went wrong, I think it was Nath. Nath was just out of the action. Nath never really had an impact. Aspie said he was downstairs for pretty much the majority. And it's always a tricky one, because yes, you can try and just hold and let the Monty plant, or it could just be a case of Monty walks in and Nath comes behind him, just plays off information and gets the kill. That would be the other option. It's always difficult, you know, should you went for that? In hindsight, it is what it is. You just have to play of it. You lose the round, you go 1-0 down, but it's not over yet for MNM. It's only the first round.
Going to be attacking this time onto Customs. If you've not seen that one before, you can place your thermite charge on the barricade. It will open up the reinforced wall to the side of it. So that's given the line of sight through into Customs at least. They're going to need to deal with this detention wall though. They've also got Alamai with impact nades in hand. Now that could be interesting because obviously that is the last remaining exothermic charge. There's no other realistic card breach option for that detention wall. I was just waiting for the book to get off its drone, but no, there's none whatsoever. So they either get that right or they won't be opening detention up. They have got it done. Benja is going to manage to find the kill onto Nath though, so that leaves us in a 5 versus 4. Once again, advantage G2, but they're trying to hold on to a site that resembles a piece of Swiss cheese at the minute. There's a lot of holes very early leading into this site that's going to make it difficult for those defenders to play in there.
Oh, that's a great pick from Solitol. That could have ended up a miserable day for him inside a bathroom. But I don't think G2 will be too worried. As long as they still have Benja with the Solus, they can see if the plant's going to go down, and it's very easy just to get the floor banks. However, Benja's come off the gadget. That is a good push from Users, making sure that Benja cannot do his job. He will impact above, but diffuser's been planted. I love that from Users. Sure, he's died, but he's died for the cause of getting that diffuser down. And Uno and Benja have to go for the retake.
Yeah, great play there from MNM. Just coordinated teamwork to ensure that that diffuser could go down. Benja looks for a fight, and does he find it? Boy, oh boy, absolutely rips the head off Nello. He's going to tickle that diffuser now, and with Uno on the cover, I bet he can stick this. Tyrant, he's looking, he comes through. He's taking a fight against 2, though, and now Uno's in position. He can surely just hold him off while Benja goes for this. He picks him up on the trade. Heads up play from Benja, well aware of the situation, and the time remaining gets the job done, and that is another counter defuse for G2.
It's twice now. You can give MNM the benefit of the doubt for the first round because it was really well played by Virtue, but I wouldn't say that was the strongest of plays from G2. It was individual gunfights. Nobody refragged at all. It was, you know, one guy outside a breach. I don't know why Nello's wide swinging like that. For what purpose? He knows that he's going to have the information on the diffuser. He doesn't need to hold that aggressively. Where that diffuser's planted, you have to kind of tuck yourself into a corner, so you're going to get pre-fired nonetheless. You know exactly where he's going to be crouched whenever he goes for the diffuse. It just means miscommunication all across the board. Even, you know, Buck dropping behind on Customs for what purpose? Why? You know, what's that really going to achieve? You know you don't have stable control of upstairs. There were still Udo above for the castle. Why not just rotate round to blue? Hold the holes that have been opened up in towards supply. just, yeah, all over the place for MNM. Just very individual, no real teamwork there, and it cost them.
Yep, certainly looking like the wheels have come off a little bit at this point. The question being, how quickly can MNM get them put back on G2, not giving them any breathing space to make any sort of adjustments or repairs here, to be fair, like you say, really on top of them. And I was going to pick up on the same thing, really, Demo. It's those individual gunfights for me that MNM are losing. They're creating situations, yes, where they can put the diffuser down, but you know, every time it comes down to it, you've had Virtue with a clutch in the first. You've had Benja be able to win that situation. They can't keep giving rounds away like this, and it does come down to just winning those crucial gunfights. Alamau looking to take a challenge. You can see the confidence of G2 just going up and up here as those gunfights get won each round, as those clutches come in. They're just willing to push further and further on the defense.
MNM just need to stabilize and holding that diffuser. They're doing a great job at getting it down. It comes into, you know, one player left for G2 every time. Still lose it. Still the same result. I think MNM, I will say, I think they've been a little bit more on top of G2 just in terms of the entry game. I think they've controlled a lot more of the map. It's just been MNM tossing away those post plants, which really cost them. I like this from Solotov, looking just to move in aggressively. In goes the call. I wonder if he's going to try and follow up with it. He'll move in towards Office. He will spot somebody inside a fountain. Oh, that's an easy one. Fenrir caught lacking. Down onto Uno. Solotov looking for his second as well. Nello finds Doki, but there's a good trade from Virtue. Uses just struts in, finds Benja lacking, and another one for Uses before the C4 from below. But you're left right now, Alamano 1 versus 3, and that was a quick one. MNM tearing them limb from limb. Just trade after trade. Nobody from G2 had any information of where MNM were coming from.
MNM desperately needed that one. Going into border after losing Cafe 7-1 and facing a full defensive sweep for the, you know, a 3-round rotation would have been, you know, borderline catastrophic for them in reality. So MNM definitely needing to get that one, get a split half. But let's not forget, MNM's strength on border is generally the attack. They are really, really good on the attack here. We expect them to come away with at least a 4-2 half, which is meaning that they can't take another loss here to this G2 defense, who are now able to go back to Armory. I think we're going to see a different approach here from MNM. We can see already in the operator lineup, they went for the Archives plant last time around with the Ying, with the Monte. They're not going to try that again. They know that G2 have seen it. They expect it. You know, it's not going to be the case. So I'm interested now to see what do MNM do differently. It's going to be, you know, almost watching a new team here on this Armory push. We've not seen this from them. Whatever it is that they're going to do here against G2 today. So we will, you know, we'll have to see how that goes, but they managed to bring some speed and aggression in that last round. Can they carry that forward to this one and again get themselves established inside of the map nice and quickly?
They went for a very different lineup compared to what they went for previously for their Armory attack. See, Monty and the Ying have been sacked off, and Favor, it looks like, for bringing in a bit more control into the game. You have the Zero, which is not obviously held with a bit more flank protection. But even the Flores, which can be a good option for clearing utility, but I think right now for G2, they're not really worried about MNM clearing out the utility. G2 are going to feel pretty confident with their swings. You look at Alamau, I think whenever he was playing in towards CCTV room in the last round, he was just swinging everything. He didn't care. If those Keeper barriers do get taken out by the Flores drones, I don't really think he's going to mind too much about that, as long as he can still play those long angles with that 1.5x. A great position for Doc to be in. He can stim himself back up if he takes a bit of damage, even help his teammates if they could get naded from below. And speaking of nades from below, Solotov almost claims Alamau's life, but look at the power of the Doc, Tim, right back up to full.
That's it. You know, we don't often, you know, maybe as often as you might think, see the Doc on that sort of role. You know, either be it out on the roam or trying to hold positions away from sight. And a lot of the time, Doc is absolutely perfect for that. Like you say, you know, think of Doc as a roamer. He can take 3 fights for free, essentially, as long as he doesn't die. And he can still come away with full health. You know, that's crazy. So just utilising that G2. But I tell you what, MNM are doing a really good job from below here, Demo. They've got the opening kill onto Doki. They've now got Alamau through all of his stims and down to low health as well, but that doesn't account for Virtue, who's able to pick one up from underneath.
Tyrant trying to hunt for Benja right now. Benja, there's a player outside a main door, and Nath claims that. It was a good rotate. Nath in the right place at the right time. Alamau, we've seen his HP. He wasn't long for this world. Virtue He's the big man, and the last time they defend this, and he gets annihilated by Solotov, who again has been the real benefit right now for MNM. Solotov, who's really the only one who held his head up high on Cafe, and he is leading the charge on Border.
Yeah, MNM waking up now. Let's not forget the stakes of this matchup. This is, of course, the last chance qualifiers for the Atlanta Major, the semi-finals. So the winner will go through to the grand final to play for a place later on today at the Atlanta Major. Not that the Major's later today. They play later today for a place at the Major. MNM, OG2, the losers will be out, essentially. That is it. That's, their stage 2 done. So everything to play for here, as well as potential SI qualification, or at least very close to. I think G2 with a win here in the semi-final get themselves onto about 99%, so they've pretty much got the job done. MNM, if they can get through to the grand final, at least give themselves, I think it's a 50% shot. They need to win that grand final, essentially, to guarantee their position at SI. So, absolutely tons to play for here. And what a time for MNM to wake up. G2 with a big couple of opening rounds, a couple of clutch situations they're able to close out, but then MNM have just looked like a different beast in round 3 and 4 demo.
Completely different change of pace from MNM. Straight to the point. Sack off going for the plant. Let's just kill them. That's probably what MNM have discovered. Post plants were not great from them, but just the general clear out of the roamers and the utility from MNM has been second to none. Even on the rounds that they lost, I think it's been very impressive. G2, sure they've got 2 rounds, but it is down to some clutches in the mix of that. So they probably look at this and think, we need to be doing better. We're not really shooting back the way we need to. Looking at Doki over here. It's always a good point about Doki. It's always someone who always ends up having a good conversation about. Sometimes the inconsistency costs this guy. It does. I think
it does. Absolutely, 100%. It's,
some
it's
days he
all or
comes
nothing.
in, and he's unbelievable. We've seen him, he dropped, 23 kills, 24 kills, whatever it was, against Heroic. Won them the game. And then there's moments where he turns up today, and he's just been very quiet. Very, very quiet. Not a lot to say about him. 0-4 for his standards, it's not going to be... I know the mentality of that guy, and he always wants to be the best. And if he's not doing that, there's an issue for him, and I think he's going to realize that, so he really needs to get on the board quick.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, like you say, can't let it snowball. And I think Doki is one of those players, like you say, in either direction. Either he goes a few rounds without a kill and it gets, it becomes an issue for him, and then that snowballs into a worse situation where it continues, or he'll come out and get 3 or 4 kills in a round and that snowballs and it's 20 plus. Yeah. It's one way or the other for him. Like you say, very rarely will he have a sort of a fair to middling game where he maybe gets 8 kills. It tends to be sort of one extreme or the other, so we'll see how Doki goes over the next couple of rounds. But 2-2 at the minute. G2 won't hate this, I don't think. If they can get a 3-3 half on the defensive border against an MNM that are good attackers here, I don't think they'll be too unhappy with that. Doki, he's going to be unhappy to lose so much life there, but he does manage to take some damage from Solotov at the same time at least, so not the end of the world for G2. And again, it's like I said at the beginning of the game, it's about making it difficult for these attackers to get into the map, and Doki makes it a lot more difficult as he finds Tyrant.
It's a great adaptation from G2, realizing that MNM's strengths on their last attack came from nading below. So they've put the players in place to stop that from happening. They've sent players downstairs that eliminated all of the nades now. Tyrant was the only ones who had nades remaining. Solotov used him trying to clear in towards CC. Uses has just walked into sight now, and now looks as if he's backing him up, and Uses with that DMR gets shut down by Alamau. Nello, who was trying to assist, also gets eliminated, and look where Diffuser is, right in the heart of the Lion's Den. MNM are going to need to scramble to get this back in their favor, but I don't see it happening just based off where the Diffuser's been left.
Well, this is it. 50 seconds left to go. G2 can play this smart now. They can sit back. They don't need to take the challenges. I was going to say MNM, they need to kick things off by finding some kills, and that's exactly what Nerf is going to do. If they want any hope of getting that diffuser back, they need at least one more kill here. They need it to be a 2v2, or even better than that, a 2v1. So they're going to be sending the Gemini clone in. Time is going to start working against them pretty soon. Only 30 seconds left to go. G2 know the presence, of that diffuser is a game changer, and they've dropped down below. This is not going to be easy now for MNM.
Oh, Nath looking to take a gunfight. against a player you don't really want to be doing that against Benja, but Naif shuts him down. Benja, aggro with the swing doesn't work out, but what a rotate from G2, going below, knowing that they have Alamau, can call out the information. Nobody even picking up the diffuser. They will scramble now to try and get it, but out of time. Nobody from MNM was looking to go for the plant there. They tried to get the kills, but like I said, the rotations from G2 was extremely smart, played it very, very safe, and it gets them that round win.
Yeah, they knew that they were in a lose-lose situation there, I think, MNM. Sometimes you've just got to make that decision and say, right, we're going for kills or we're going for a plan. And you've just got to stick to it, you know, one way, you know, for good or bad. There's always the line of thought that, you know, ultimately, you know, if you don't put the diffuser down, the round's going to end and it's over. So, you know, you might as well give it a shot. But honestly, I don't really see where they'd have been able to do that successfully. The one place that you can maybe get away from that Solis is up on the desk in archives, but the hole was opened in a position where you've got a clear line of sight up onto it anyway, to be honest. It just was, you know, it just wasn't going to happen, I don't think, at that point. So MNM, unfortunately, they lose round 5, and that is going to leave them now 3-2 down. G2, I'm sure, will be very happy with that. It secures them the 3-3 half minimum, which surely will have been a target for them. If they can take another round here and go 4-2, then they are a big step towards taking this whole matchup in 2 maps and getting themselves into the grand final.
5 seconds to insertion.
Just G2 looking a little bit better now. I think it was much better from them. The adaptation going below, making sure MNM cannot abuse those nades, and really for MNM, once they didn't have, you know, the nades from below and getting that early pick, they just kind of stalled out, and the time really came in to bite them from behind. So timing may be an issue for MNM that they need to look at. They have left it late for all of the rounds that they lost. It wasn't as quick as the rounds that they won. So proof's in the pudding. Whenever they move quick, results follow. Whenever they just stall out a little bit, it goes the other way, and G2 take the lead. Right now for MNM, they're going to be attacking this customs, and I just want to see them hold the post plant. If that's what they're going to go for, just hold the post plant. I'm really shocked that they didn't attack them upstairs. They didn't want to really throw all the eggs into the basket. Sure, CCTV room is... oh, sorry, we're in towards ventilation and workshop. Again, same point still stands. I want to see them attack these roamers. With so much vertical gameplay, I think it's ideal to move in towards the top floor, open up the angles, especially if you look towards the ventilation and workshop site. That entire B-bomb site can be shut down with just holding one rotate and holding onto main door, and you get an easy plant down. So there is certainly options for the vertical game if you want to go for that, albeit they don't really have too much soft destruction. Only really the DMR or breaching charges would be enough. So it could be an issue for them.
Could be. Doka is going to be keeping them out of armory for the time being as well. Just using those keeper barricades make it difficult for them to be able to just come cleanly on. Benja is going to continue taking out those Selmas as well. That is going to mean that there's no option to get through this wall. You know, they can take away the keeper barricades, but they're going to have to come through the doorway, and that is a big advantage for G2. But Solotov manages to get a kill onto Doki. Do they know that Benja's looking to get aggressive on this doorway, though? Yes, they do. Naif manages to find the angle. That's a big double from MNM.
Benja, what are you doing, son? Just stood on the wall as the keeper barrier opened up behind you. Virtue trying to hold a long angle, and this is more like MNM, straight to the point. Deadly as ever. I'm happy to see them clear out these roamers above. G2 have been very heavy and stretching their legs throughout the course of this game. Now Alamau Nuno have to do a bit of work now. Have to get a clutch, you know, looking for a cheap kill on this angle. Patience from MNM is clear. They just want to get that plant down. They want to try and hold that. Users on the flank. Alamau has found Tyrant. Users looking away at the wrong time and gets punished. However, Naif has eliminated Uno's teammate. Alamau gone. Look where the fuser's planted. Just on top of the server. Solotov lies and waits for him. MNM, an even half.
Not bad. I think it's honestly not a bad result for G2 there on the defense. Taking 3 rounds off an MNM that are good at attacking there. is going to make things tough. It puts MNM up against it now. G2 come in on the attack. Again, we saw them, do that very well on Cafe in the limited opportunity that they had. They only had 2 attacking rounds on there. Were able to get it done at the second bite of the cherry. So we move on. It's going to be round 7. These next 2 rounds for me are going to be particularly important. MNM need to win at least one of them. If G2 come in with 2 successful attacks and go 5-3, then I think it may be, the signal really that the end is near for MNM in these last chance qualifiers. But that is 6 minutes of siege that they've got plenty of time to do something about it. And MNM, they just need to stand tall now. They've been winning a lot more of those gunfights. If we look down their side, Solotov on 9 kills, Tyrant on 6, Nath getting involved as well. Nath has been a pivotal part of this team through stage 2. He's played very, very well from what I've covered of him particularly. He's been impressive on this MNM side, so getting him in the mix as well is going to be a great thing for this side.
And the sad thing as well about Nath is that people won't see how good of a shot caller he is in game. He was brought in to give that team a new voice, and I can only talk about from just knowing the guy and knowing what the guy's all about, playing with the guy. He's very smart, very good at judging a situation, and not afraid to be a little bit ballsy here and there, Tim, which I think is something you need to have in the current meta. You need to take risks. So he's been a great addition to them. You look at the impact that he's had in the side. I think he gets brought on for Invite, and just the upheaval of that side. You look at them getting in towards the top 8 of the major. He really has helped this team out quite a lot.
Uno's going to be pushing in on the Monty. Doki is supporting as well. Not sure if they know that the challenge is coming from above there. Users does manage to pick up one. Doki gets one before being downed and traded. Oh, Alamai might just have saved him as Nath manages to get that, but no, the impact nade comes over from Tyrant to finish it off. This is an absolute brawl, Demo. It's 3 versus 3. Solotov's taken a lot of damage there on the Oryx. He's going to have to get himself out of danger for the time being, and G2 are a step towards getting that top floor secured. But they've lost 2 players along the way, and that could make life tough for them when trying to push onto site.
The Battle of East Stairs 2023 AD. It was a fight over trying to kill. Doki was down on the stairs for such a long time. Tyrant! How have you got away with that? Virtue, is anyone home? Alamal has to clean up another kill on East Stairs. It's a Glaz and Monty combination to see if they can push G2 over the line. They've got control of what they wanted, but at what cost? A lot of bloodshed. Solotov is still lurking above upstairs. Doesn't have the greatest of HP. One stray bullet and he'll be gone. Actually turns away from Solotov. Oh, this is tense, Tim. I really don't know where this is going to be going.
It is. I mean, you've got to say G2 have got what they need to potentially plant here inside of that vending machine window. They've got smokes, they've got the glass, they've got a Monty who can turn his back and try and get that diffuser down. They know one of the they've kind of got everything they need if they want to take the risk here. That's exactly what they're going to do. They drop in. Alamo using the bait of the Monty fantastically to pick up Nello, and that leaves a low health Solotov above with it all to do. They don't know his location exactly, I don't think, and Uno is not wanting to commit to put in this diffuser down just yet. As he does, he goes. Will Alamo find him? No, it's the spray down from Solotov. He's up against Uno, but he steps out of the stall and finds his man G2 getting it done in the nick of time.
Uno was just trying to wash his hair, and he's got a shock. Both sides not having a clue where one another was. They had no idea about the Oryx above. I love the plant position from Uno. Extremely strong position to plant in because you cannot be shot from the hatch. So I think they've took the gamble thinking, surely if he was in towards blue or in towards waiting, we'd know about it. We'd know about it. You would expect, especially whenever they're taking East Stairs, there would be some form of information for waiting. So just from that logic of eliminating, the best plant is in the cubicle. And because it's such a weird plant position, it's caught Solotov completely by surprise. Solotov's obviously got the first kill, but would never have expected Uno to plant in there. Because if you're from Solotov's perspective, you're thinking, if I had just went to waiting, I would have killed you if you planted there.
Exactly that. I think
Oh.
with a little bit of chat in the old chat there, just pointing out to Nello that he was the glass. I think Nello just wanting to try and move around in a smoke was probably not the best solution for him. Alamau able, of course, to use that heat-seeking scope to be able to pick him up and shut him down. So G2 take one of 2 rounds that I said, you know, MNM need to win at least one of the first 2 rounds of this half. Round 7 or round 8, I feel like they need to be getting that on the board. 5-3 down is going to be very difficult for them to come back from. G2 get the first, so for me it makes this a must-win round for MNM on the defense. They've gone to Armory, what we would generally say is the primary site here. It wasn't their first choice, but we would expect them to be able to find some defensive strength in there. Uno has brought them Monty again, so G2 looking at that and saying, you know what, they didn't really have too much of a solution. We were able to bully them with it a bit, so let's double down and go for that again.
G2 playing it slow, clearing away bits of utility where they can. Getting rid of that barbed wire will give, I suppose, Doki the go-ahead to maybe look for a crouch walk. Misses a nade though, ricochets off the top of the door frame there. Solotov similar to what Alamau was doing inside of Brazil, and oh, a nade will down, and Benji, you seen a hand there. Gets himself back up though, like the power of the dock, and that's a great retake from Tyrant, doing exactly what G2 done to them, and oh, Tyrant gets himself into a bit of bother. Impact to try and scare it away, but no, goes to the re-swing, get punished for it, but Solotov is there before he gets taken out by Doki. Wow, what a strange circumstances, and then Nath gets picked off. I thought that was looking good for MNM, being able to waste a lot of utility, get a couple of kills there, but then for Nath to give himself up so easily, that doesn't sit well for MNM.
Oh, I actually missed the re-pick there from the Monty onto the Dorkaby, so no shield to play behind for G2, but still putting the DMR to good work there and just making it more and more difficult for these defenders to stay in position. It's down to Nello and users 2 versus 3, but an age of time to try and survive here. Uno out on the archives window with diffuser in hand. He's just waiting here for the push to come across. It's going to be Doki going in and challenging, checks the complete wrong side of the lockers. Users, can he find himself another? He might just win a round there for MNM as he picks up Alamau. It is all up to the last man. Nello shuts down Uno, and MNM win one of what I said was 2 essential rounds. They level things up 4-4, and this is game on.
G2 have completely tossed that round away. Minute to go, 2 versus 3, and he's just blindly sprinted in. He had no idea that player was behind just a pretty default position in Sandwich. Very puzzling there from G2. Very poorly played. You have a minute, take the time. You have Iana. That's a drone. That is a drone. That's the whole gadget, is she can simply have infinite drones. Oh, well, not infinite, because obviously the timer runs out at some point, but I suppose in a secure area, it would be pretty infinite. But
yeah.
We don't dabble with that here, Tim. So yeah, I don't get it from G2. I don't get why they're not taking the time. They were in such a good position, being able to eliminate Nath as well, and then having that advantage with a minute to go, you need to be closing them out. Both sides really struggling, I think, with playing with a man advantage.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Not always making the most of it, not always able to get it done when they have that sort of that extra firepower. But MNM, they played well, stood up tall. Nello just able to find that final kill to level things up at 4-4, bringing us into round 9. G2 will be on the attack. It's back into bathroom again. Last time, this one was an absolute bloodbath on East Stairs. I think there was at least 4 deaths on and around that area, if not more. By the time that it actually closed out. It ended up in a 2v2 that G2 ultimately were able to come away with. Solotov, unfortunately, just didn't know the position of Monty. Uno that was trying to plant, and he was able to just step out and find his final kill. So Uno, watching the shadows there, knows that there's somebody inside of Workshop. Doki looking for those vertical nades to kick things off. Going to pop it back in pocket. No information to support him for the time being. I think probably just a drone being watched above, but they're not going to see that Solotov's moved away. No, still, Doki's kept hold of the nade, so I assume they did have a drone that was watching specifically. Yeah,
MNM have been pretty loose on the roam game. Obviously, we've seen that in the last time they defended here. I think G2 will read into that, and they know that there will be these kind of individual picks where they can get their kills on the board without losing any of their own men. G2 maybe going direct. They've smoked off the big double door and into the tellers, we've seen the jump in come in from the Lion. Nello is the lone player in sight as he usually is, and he's going to try and hold on as the rest of his team are trying to scramble to his support, and it will go all up for MNM as G2 have been faltered. They didn't have the commitment there, Tim, to really push in and clear out the players in sight.
Yeah, I think Nello did a good job. His movement was excellent and well timed just to keep himself. He knew that the fight wasn't the one to take and that he just needed to keep himself out of danger to prevent anybody else following it in from that teller's window. So did a great job of holding on to things. MNM then backed him up, found kill after kill here. Virtue with a beautiful long range shot onto Tyrant, but it's unlikely to be enough. He's on the Dokkaebi, he's 1 versus 3. Doesn't have diffuser in hand. MNM have everything they need here to close this out.
Virtue, see what you can do. No diffuser. Has to go upstairs to get it. There's a goo mine. Plenty of traps on the side of MNM. Virtue up, he goes. Gets that goo mine. Does he know about that player? Tucked in towards half wall. Nafe will be there. I'd be surprised if he did. Then again, looking at the outlines, maybe he does. Never mind. Nafe's quicker on the trigger than what Virtue is. And MNM take a very easy round. Here you have to highlight Nello. Just stayed alive. That's all he needed to do. You will see with a lot of defenses from MNM, it's always Nello in sight, and then the other 4 are just gone with the wind. They'll be anywhere and everywhere. And I think for Nello in this current meta, where we do see a lot of rushes, very direct into sight, it's an awful job to have. An awful job. Because sometimes it does feel as though that round lives and dies on your shoulders. If you just get shot straight away, the site's completely open. And whenever teams on the attack have options like Ossa and Monty, which make even the planting a lot easier from those players trying to scramble back to site and stop the plant going down, it can be tricky. So realistically for Nello, the main thing for him to do is just stay alive. As long as he's in the site and G2 know he's in the site, he's a threat, and they cannot go for a plant as quickly as what they would do if they kill him.
I think as you say, you know, MNM has in Nello have had one of the most consistent site players that we've often seen. In the game, there are of course others that would join Nello up there, but like you say, his persistence and commitment to that role over the years has been fantastic, really. And there's not many players that know each individual site and its angles and its pressure points probably better than Nello does from a defensive perspective. So once again, proving a great understanding of that position. Solotov, he's just going to be opening up some verticals down on towards the storage window, and we're going to have Tyrant with a little bit of drone hunting, just looking to take down that utility. 3 found so far, still 7 drones for G2, so not the end of the world, but just need to be cautious that they're not throwing too many of those away, because again, playing in with that lack of information is not going to make life easy for them.
It was a big old bloodshed for East. Last time G2 are looking to gain control of that, and MNM are setting up pretty much the same way. Tyrant, that should be a freebie for you. Hello? I'm pretty sure he could have seen the back there of the ace, but instead drops down. Solotov again. I don't know what it is about Solotov. He seems to get himself in a bit of bother in the early game, takes a lot of HP, and then somehow ends up staying alive for like another 2 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be in a 1v1 at the end of this. Like you said, it's always Solotov at the end, and he always seems to be surviving on 10 HP through the entire thing. Usus is almost going to get a freebie onto Alamau, just a little bit unusual there. Takes out the Kiba barricade only to turn his back on it and run away. You know, you've got to assume that there could be a threat, there could be a player lurking in behind there, but Alamau going to take some damage for his negligence there. That's going to put him down to about 40-45 HP, and needs to be careful now going into any further fights.
So weird setup from G2. They don't have a whole lot of map control. They have customs. They don't look as if they want to aggress. It looks as if Tyrant was trying to retake customs from Banjo, but he's having none of that today, and Nafe is there. Oh, it could be an easy swing here for Nafe, because Banjo's looking the wrong way, and it will be. Looks to the wrong side of the door frame. There's Solotov still in that low HP. Is able to pick up a kill. Virtue gone. And it hasn't worked out for G2. I don't really know what the thought process was. It was almost like, wait for MNM to push us and then we'll clear up the kills. And yes, that did happen to an extent, but somehow you still ended up in the deficit.
Doki just lurking through into ventilation. Does get hit by that fear gadget to begin with. Is he going to be able to get this down? He's got Alamo on the cover. Naif is moving through, but not urgently enough. Alamo manages to find one. What a shot from Doki. Does get taken down in the trade from above, but Users, you can't sit on the vertical anymore. You're going to have to come down and get this job done. Alamo moves himself into storage. I think he knows that the player has dropped underneath, and he's now just got to play the waiting game.
For the jump in, there's a knee there, some sort of use as the flash goes in, and Alamo
Smart play.
with the cleanup. Just waits for the right moment. Flashbangs in the pocket. He knows he'll win that, as long as users can't see. I have to question how he's got the plant down. I have to question it massively on MNM's side. You had upstairs, you had the vertical control. Why is users not stopping that?
There was just no push towards it, was there? It was almost like they didn't hear it, or they weren't aware it was going down.
Did a Fenrir gadget. Did a Fenrir gadget on the double door.
You know that they've come inside. You know that they're somewhere inside of there. So yeah, definitely a bit of a slip from MNM there.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I mean, it's opened the door for G2. It should be 6-4 to MNM right now. It should be. I mean, G2 really in that attack, there wasn't really much to say. They didn't take a whole lot of the map. They didn't have the man advantage going into the halfway point, but yet they still somehow win the round. That's not how that should be working, Tim.
And let's not forget, coming into Armory, this is a site that realistically G2 probably should have won last time around. I think it was either Usus or Tyrant and Nello that were left inside of Armory. Yeah. And like you say, it was only really through G2's lack of diligence that MNM won that round. You know, they picked up a couple of good kills, absolutely. But Doki, and I think it was Alamo, just went walking in to Armory without proper information, didn't really challenge a common default spot for the players to be in, and lost the round. So you look at this now and think, like you say, should probably be 6-4 MNM. And if the round goes the same way as it did last time, I've got to say G2 probably don't throw it away this time, and they might well be facing 6-5 down. But Naif goes away towards stopping that happening and picks up an early entry onto Uno.
This diffuser cold also. Both teams just back and forth. Maybe they are waiting for you to say overtime, Tim. That's why they're here. That's why they're maybe losing these rounds. Maybe
they want the line, Demo. They want the line.
They want to get all the way. That diffuser needs to get picked up ASAP, or else that will cause them big issues. Again for G2, it's pretty run-of-the-mill stuff, looking to get the nades from below, and oh, he misses that. Wasn't held. It was almost held too long, and it didn't actually reach the ceiling in time.
Yeah, I think that's what happened there. Benja maybe just getting a bit too scared of it, but Doki, he's going to give him something to be scared about as he walks on inside, but Naif stands tall, finds the kill, uses onto Benja in a trade as well. 4 versus 2. MNM look like they could be heading for that match point opportunity. Alamo holding the long angle. Virtue does find an important kill onto Users though.
Do they know? Do they know? Nobody from MNM is making a move. G2 are going to have to play on kills. I'd be surprised if Alamo or Virtue will go for the rotate, trying to get that diffuser. Oh, what a creep in from the Warden. That's stuck in for that rotate into small now, and Alamo, yeah, you're stuck, mate. You're done out here. Nowhere to go. Trapped in there with MNM, and Virtue has to clean up 3 kills. We see him in the clutch a couple of times today, Tim, and one of them has worked. Don't know about this one. Has to face check all his angles. Tapping away. But does he know about the player in Sandwich? I don't think so. And that's an easy cleanup for Naif. MNM, as easy as you like. G2 have again tried to be a little bit too bold in their attacking prowess, and they've been punished.
I love those moments where you can hear what a player is thinking from what we see on screen. And Alamo turning towards that archives door was one of those moments where he sees the barricade and he thinks, yep, this is over for me. And he was summarily cut down only seconds later. And that was really the beginning of the end of that opportunity for G2. So MNM, they are going to get a match point opportunity. And honestly, I think they just need to get it locked down now. They need to get this done on border and get themselves onto that 3rd map of Oregon, because G2, you know, they have been scrappy so far today. They've had periods of very, very good play. And I think giving them a second sniff of this by letting them into overtime could be a big mistake for MNM.
G2, do you still have enough in the tank to get us to that beloved overtime, or will MNM push us to Oregon. It's been a much better showing. This is the MNM that we want to see every time, where they're all showing up with the kills. I mean, look at the spread across the board of MNM. You know, just based off kills alone, you'd be surprised that G2 have been able to even get 5 rounds. You've got 3 players from MNM all dropping double digits. I mean, Tyrant's on the cusp of that as well. Nelo's not too far behind. And just the one player, 10 kills for Alamau, is the highest kill leader for G2. Like, something doesn't add up here. The math's all wrong. Shouldn't be this close.
No, it really shouldn't. The scoreline, certainly, it's one of those games where the scoreline does not tell the whole story here on Border. Solotov once again on the Oryx. We've seen it countless times. Will he take his customary 90 damage at the beginning of the round, or will he be able to keep his hit points a little higher further into the round this time? Benja just going to be heading in underneath on the sledge. Once again, looking for those vertical nades. We haven't really seen all that much success with them so far. Benja was a little bit unfortunate last time. Did manage to hit the dock, downed him, wasn't able to find the kill, and then they started losing men underneath. Does do some damage to Solotov. Once again, takes his customary damage at the B. He likes to take his lumps. He's going to take that one at the beginning of the round and move on.
Uh-oh. Observer, fix it. Get it fixed. Come on, easy. Get it going. I think it's easy. It was yesterday. Hey! He's done it. We can see again. Just a minor issue there. Just mute being a bit of an issue. Just for us and observers. Haven't missed the kills though. Virtue has been able to pick up Tyrant and Doki on the Solotov, and this is looking good for G2 to push us into that overtime. And
I mean, that's not ideal.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué?
Doki is going to take down Benja in an unfortunate team kill, but Alamau's there to give them the man advantage back, picking up the kill onto users. 4 versus 2 now. Nerf and Nelo have got an absolute ton of work to do. Nelo is actually playing underneath with Nerf up above. Zoki manages to just drop straight into sight and find that kill. It's all up to Nerf to try and hold on. He's above. He can use a little bit of verticality if he chooses. Manages to find Doki down in workshop. Let's just have a look. He does have 1 impact nade left as well, so could be used to just prevent any diffuser going down. I tell you what, Nerf, he's moving around like he's invisible here. They're just unable to see him coming. That's 2 that he's been able to pick up, and a 1v4 becomes a 1v2 and very doable.
Oh, I don't know what's happening here to G2. I really don't. They don't have any drones in the pockets of Virtue or Uno, so Nafe again will still be this ghost moving around the bomb site. Uno just waiting for Virtue to get in position, but it's very difficult to see really where Nafe is. And oh, there we go with the position given away. They just spot him there inside a workshop, and they will try and flood in towards waiting and try and get their way in towards the window. But Uno, what are you doing? Nafe! Surely not. It can't be. It can't be for the clutch. Virtue will try and get the plant down, and Impact goes out, and Nafe looks the wrong way, and Virtue saves his team and almost choked from G2. Oh, Nafe, heart goes out to him. A great attempt. G2, it shouldn't be that close. It shouldn't be.
It really shouldn't, Demo. As you say, G2 had everything at their disposal there, 4 versus 1, and they took it down to the very wire, but ultimately are able to get the round 1. And Demo, that means we're going to overtime. G2 still an opportunity to close this out in 2 maps. It's 6-6 as we head into an MNM timeout as well. The problem for MNM is they go on to the defense, and as we say, generally we would expect attackers to have an advantage on Border. There hasn't been one so far. It's been 3-3 in both halves, but G2, they're going to be looking to lean into those stats in these final 2 or 3 rounds.
Do we need to bring up the team kill? Because that was, you know, doesn't help for G2. It really doesn't. Like, moments like that. They start off strong.
It absolutely doesn't. And those 1v4s are going to come back to eat at you. You know, it's you've got a 4v. For me, my problem there is it's 4v1. They've got to prioritise getting that diffuser down more. You know, think about that situation. You've got so much cover available, but it's a 2v1 before they get into a position to even think about playing that diffuser. And that's when Uno gets picked up trying to go through the window. Nafe had a beautiful angle through onto that, read the game well, knew exactly what they were going to try and do. So for me, yeah, I think G2, you've got to hit that break point and say, right, we're 4v1, take a second, how do we get this diffuser down? Rather than, you know, Doki's just stood in workshop doing nothing. He's just stood there and he gets picked up from the hatch, and Nath was just afforded too much space.
And they will continue with the attacks. MNM opting for that workshop and vents, which is a little bit surprising because last time they were here it was lost to them. Alamau with that 1v1 clutch was able to see it out for them. So right now for MNM, it is a risky one. I mean, the lineup is pretty heavy on the old denial with the drones. The Mozzie and the Solus comes in. That's an operator that we haven't really mentioned, which is very strong on border, where plant sometimes can be a main focus for teams, and whenever the plant spots are pretty subjectable just to being wall bind through or shot through the floors. It's a good pickup to have, the old Solus.
Certainly is. Doki sends in those Roteros, just looking to clear out utility into site. Exactly the spot that they were able to plant in last time, that MNM gave them that freedom to get into. So that's a mistake that MNM certainly cannot repeat this time around. Benja opening up that wall into customs. So again, just starting that process of clearing out that bottom floor. But there is top floor that needs to be dealt with as well. Attention needs to be paid. It's something G2 didn't really do last time. As we said, Usus was in a position to deny from above, but Benja is going to pick up Tyrant, and that's a good start for G2.
Calls come in. See if they can assist the players trying to get into the build a little bit more. But right now, again, for G2, it's not more the case of trying to clear out the roamers, it's probing the site to look for a plant. I think that's their choice. And whenever you've seen that you've picked off a Solus, it makes a lot of sense. You don't have to worry about being found out. What a nade there from Benja. Good read on the Solotov. He goes down, and G2 are controlling the tempo of this round. Let's just hope, Tim, that it doesn't end up the same way as it did last time, where it came right down to the wire.
This is it. G2 need to do a better job here now. Let's have that pause moment. Say, right, we're 5 versus 3. What have we got? What do we not have? You know, what control have we got? How can we get this diffuser down? It's 4 versus 2. We can start pressuring them now. Alamau manages to avoid a nitro from below as well. So G2 are sitting pretty. They've lost Doki along the way, but that's not the end of the world. They just need to use this control that they've gained.
Nath looking for the retake up to metal stairs, and will find Uno. You hope Benja's here for the refrag. He was in customs and he will be. Benja free in the round. Nello, the last player alive, and Nate, surely not a nade kill from below, misses the mark. Nello inside a small box will drop in straight to the clutches of Benja. A quad for him. G2 have regained control of this match. They lead now, Tim, 7 rounds to 6.
G2 were much better in that man advantage situation then. They just locked it down. They pressured them. They, you know, kept the foot on the gas. They knew where Nello was. That's what the vertical nade from below tells you. We've got a rough idea that he's here. Benja's ready for the drop. They just needed somebody, to be honest, like Benja, to step up and just have one of those rounds where it's like, right, I'm not losing this, and I'm going to get 4 kills and just win it. And so that's what they do there. Get the job done. G2 take themselves now into match and series point opportunity. This is the chance for G2 not only to get themselves into the grand final here of the last chance qualifiers, so that position in Atlanta, but also to all but qualify themselves for SI. This is a big moment for G2.
Massive moment, and we've seen from the stats as well, even if G2 lose tomorrow, which will not be in their sights, they're going to want to win it and get to that major. Still a 99%, so I think
this
the win...
afternoon demo, not tomorrow.
Oh,
this
sorry.
Afternoon.
Of course we're doing the final later on. That's correct. So used to doing just the 2 games, because that's kind of been the rhythm that we've had. But yeah, just having, you know, that 99% chance, even if you don't make it, is still more than what MNM would get. I think 50% if they go through and lose the final. So there's a big difference for G2 winning this to get the SI, more so for MNM. Even if MNM lose today, it's still a 25% chance. There's still a chance. Not a big one, albeit, but still something that I suppose MNM could hope for, and then they can figure out who they want to root for during the major at that point.
Doki, once again, same position that we've seen from him so many times this game, on border, on the Azami, in CCTV, just using those Kiba barricades to try and prevent that pressure coming in from the opposite side of the map. Nif sends in the Samcam for the time being. I think they're aware that it's come in there, G2, but maybe not 100% sure exactly where it is.
Alamau can get aggro in towards main door, and as the Solus, he can pick off these drones as they just trickle into the map. Will revert back into a more defensive location beneath the safety of his teammates, who could have some vertical angles open to him, could have a hatch, could try and support him if he gets aggressed onto. And you can see the idea from G2 again is just keep them out of customs. Make sure the nades don't have an impact. Tyrant has been in customs pretty much the entire attack trans. He's always been down here religiously. He's just worried now because he sees that Fenrir gadget's up for a reason, so he should be aware that, hey, they might be after me here, but as we can see, Tim, through the walls, no one's near him, so he can freely get these nades off.
No, but it is burning time. That's the key. It's just preventing him from really committing underneath. And Alamo might actually be playing this smart, you know, give them that false sense of security. Look, you know, Uno's going to have reported back in. They've come in through that door. The gadget was activated. But Alamo's got an opportunity to say, well, actually, let's let them play in. Let's let them think that they've got that position where they can get the nades. And then he moves in and gets himself a freebie if they don't pick him up on the drones. Tyrant does start that work from below. Nello manages to pick up Uno. 5 versus 4 advantage MNM, but there you go. That was the moment I was waiting for from Alamo.
Much better from G2.
Just a little bit late. A little bit late.
Great stuff though still, I think, even to get the trades off. You're still in an even advantage and on border where you need to be hitting multiple different avenues of approach. It's going to be difficult for MNM to break this down with a minute to go. Solotov, he's going to try and take control of Armory. There is a player half wall, but we know that half wall player is as safe as anything with the nades gone. Benja can just sit behind, peek up when he needs to. Has that 1.5x, can even use the glasses so any flashes that come in can easily be negated. Out goes the C4, that will give his position away. Solotov will know that one player towards half wall, but Benja tries to fight through it, and Solotov will punish him. Diffuser in the hands of Nella, he will try and go for the plant. Alamo now, he needs to come alive, he needs to feed this information over the Virtue, who has a C4, that's going to be planted in concrete. No help to Alamo from below, he's trying to scramble to get back in, but look at the cover from Solotov, and once again Virtue now in the clutch. Diffuser planted, 1 versus 2. Oh my word, surely not. Gets the kill on the Solva, maybe looking for the rotate and get the revive onto Alamau to try and assist him. That's what they're going to go for. Now it's an issue for Nello. 2 players to deal with. They didn't finish off Alamau, it was only the down. They couldn't get him through the window. Nello rotates deeper in the side, but what a shot from Alamau to keep them in it. Alamau gets the glory, but it was all Virtue. He's the man who made that happen.
What a finish we've just seen here on border from G2 as they progress into the last chance qualifier grand final. They will play the winner of Into the Breach versus Wild, and G2 have just sent a message ahead of themselves. They're winning in quick fashion, 2-0 overall. It was a 7-1 on Cafe. Then they needed a bit of overtime on the MNM map pick of border, but boy, did G2 look sharp at points today. They are a dangerous side.
It's difficult to not look at G2 now as big favourites. Obviously, I know we have Wild and ITB to come, but still G2, whenever push comes to shove, they come alive when it's do or die time, and this is a perfect example of it. MNM, a lot better on map 2, albeit, but just map 1 really let them down today, Tim.
It did. Yeah, I think it just gave them too much to